Microphone check. 1, 2, 1, 2. This is the Blaze the Lion podcast. I am your host, Blaze the Lion. Right now, we are live on YouTube on the Blaze the Lion podcast and on Facebook on iSquad TV. Mhm. And this is episode, I'm going to say 67. In the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but let's go in that. I need to get better. See, when you're getting old, you don't even remember what episode it is. Well, let's go with 67. All right. And you got some people in the chat.
Woohoo!
And this is April. This is our kickoff episode for our new theme. All right, we're in a new month, and every month we have a theme. So our theme for April, in case you haven't heard, is authors, book authors. And it just so happened that majority of our authors this month, they're all women. Hey, so it wasn't designed that way. It wasn't planned that way, but things happen how they're really supposed to happen, right? So I love that. So to kick off our book author theme, I thought, why not bring someone who I've been following for a couple years now. Someone that I would see speaking from afar and get a little bit nervous. I was a bit intimidated because she was so calm. She uttered certain words out, and even if it was impromptu, it looked, at least to me, flawless. So I had goals and dreams that one day, just one day, I would get to be as good as her, be as good of a speaker as her. And not only that, to also look as good as her in red. I'm still trying to find that color that fits my skin tone, but we'll get there. So, as I like to ramble, we Toastmasters, for episode 67, I would like to introduce to you all. I was about to say distinguished Toastmaster, and I forget we're not in Toastmasters. Guest for episode 67, Nina Obier. Welcome to the pod.
What? Oh my goodness. First of all, Blaze, stop it right now and let's just cut to the chase. Y'all, he did beat me in a contest at Toastmasters, an impromptu contest. I just thought I would drop that. So enough already. And it was an
I don't know
honor
how
to
that
compete
happened.
against you.
I don't know how that happened. I was sitting there in the chair and it said, first place, said, what? How? Like, who paid? Anyway. Welcome. We have been planning this for a little bit now, trying to get all this settled. And I knew that I wanted you on the pod, but I wasn't sure what theme would be just for you. So before I go into all of that and give you all this praise and everything, share with the audience a little bit about yourself for those who may not know.
Well, so for those of you who do not know me, I am definitely a dreamer, right? I wanted to wear my dream shirt today. And so, who am I in a nutshell? Well, I am a wife. I am a mom of two adult daughters. I have been married 32 years, and I like to start with that because it's a big part of who I am, very proudly. Hasn't always been easy, but it's definitely always been worth it. I started off in corporate America, like many people do. My mom decided what industry I should go into. So I was in the hotel industry for 10 years, and I worked my way up into the executive C suite until it didn't feel good anymore. And then I moved on to another big, large organization, and I was in senior management there also until September 11th, 2001, when I just said, "What am I doing?" I'm chasing all these things that didn't feel right anymore, and I had little babies during that time, so I think it was just a time of pause, which I kind of feel like a lot of people have been going through for the past 2 years, so I can
Yeah.
really relate to that.
Yeah.
And that's when I went on my entrepreneurial journey. So I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years.
Hey. And we always hear that. We always hear, uh, don't work for anyone else's dreams. Fill your own dreams and be a business owner. It has its ups and downs. Right? It's not just start a business and then the first year you're a millionaire or you're super successful and all you have to do is start your business. It's, everything is on you, right? So you go from working for someone and they take care of a lot of from the taxes, right, to the expenses and all that. And then now you're like, oh, well, I have to file for corporate what and do minutes and I have to register with this and I need a license for what? And
Yep. Yep. So, just to give you a little context, so 20 years ago, my leap, and so I wasn't the girl who grew up and said, I want to be an entrepreneur. You hear stories of that,
Mhm.
selling the lemonade, babysitting jobs, all that kind of stuff. Definitely not me. Definitely not me. But I had this hobby that I was really passionate about, and I could get anybody to join me in it. And so I was kind of doing it like as a side, right? People have side hustles.
Mhm.
So I guess we would call it that because I was still, as I said, a senior management corporate girl.
Right.
And so when I made the decision, we had actually just bought a new house, just bought a new van. Clearly, my corporate salary was part of those purchases. But again, there was just something telling me, you I don't want someone else raising my babies. What can I do?
Yeah.
So I took the hobby, it was a home-based business, and then I worked it like a business. And so what I liked about that was that you were in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So I
Mm.
think if anyone's thinking of that, I believe in the direct selling industry and the multi-level market industry if it's a reputable company and you've done your due diligence, because like you said, I just wasn't on my own. They created some marketing pieces, they kind of helped you along the way. So I think
Right.
that was a good way to kind of ease into entrepreneurship. I'm not doing that anymore, but I did do it fairly successfully for 15 years.
Mhm. That's a long time for that because I've joined so many companies and I've sold everything from protein shakes and protein bars to makeup.
Mm,
And me doing one of them for more than a year was an accomplishment. It's like,
yeah.
oh, okay, 12 months. Huh.
Yeah, it definitely, so it was a scrapbooking company.
Mm,
And I didn't know that I needed a scrapbook in my life until I went to a class. And I remember it so vividly. All these years ago, my mother in law and sisters in law took me to a party and we created a page. And so here's pictures of my little babies, on this scrapbook page. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept wanting to get up and look at my scrapbook page. So that was kind of the start of it. So again, I kind of say that because I obviously believed in it. I was obviously doing it, right? I know some people get into it and they maybe don't even buy into, right, the product. So we could totally go down a whole realm of that. I just, like I said, I think if it's the right fit, and yeah, and as you started this whole conversation, you're like, go into business, and it'll be fun and you'll be a millionaire. No, it's work.
that's
It's
right.
work. But I know we've talked offline before. Yeah, you can work, but from a feel good place
Yeah.
and things will come your way.
Right.
So I really feel like for so many years that was it. And I surrounded myself with other really great consultants. I mean, the company at one point had 90,000 consultants. Like we were really riding it. And I, reached to the top 2% of the company and we were earning trips and I would not take that time away. And what's interesting is then came the day when it no longer was in alignment.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to push and I wasn't going to stay in just because. And I walked away. That's my pattern, by the way. Usually when I'm up here, it's like, okay, time to switch. It's not in alignment anymore. And people think I'm crazy for walking away from these opportunities, but I knew it was the right thing to do at the time.
Yeah. 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 It really has to feel good. And many times people get stuck in careers or in jobs or relationships. And, they're there because they feel they kind of have to, or, right? And we only have one life. So folks say that you only live once, so you should party and have as much fun as you want. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. But how about just loving what you do? How about waking up in the morning like, I get to host a podcast. I get to talk. Right? I get to speak. I get to work on writing another book. Right? Hmm.
Uh-huh. We're going to talk about that?
That was my little segue. Eh? So, as we're in our theme for book authors, share for your first book, share just how that came about. Was that always a plan of yours, or did it just happen by luck or right timing, or what was that like?
So I get the feeling that possibly there might be some more people out there that want to do this, possibly some speakers out there, all of that kind of stuff. What happened was I paid attention to what
Pull out your
people.
notepad. Pull out your notepad. Let's go. Let's go.
When I left the party plan industry, I chose to start my own company called Success Simplified. Back there, it was Success and Leadership. We then shifted to Success Simplified because I'm all about simplifying the process. So pay attention. And I was a training and development company. That's what my background was in. And so I was out and I was speaking and I was doing trainings and things like that. And you hear, what's a great business card? A book. That's like your big business card, is the way it was presented to me. And I was like, I never thought of it that way. Now, just to give you a little background, I didn't even like to read as a kid. I probably really didn't start reading until I was in my 20s. Yes, I don't know how I passed school and college, but I did. And my mom had given me just some fun books to read. And then it turned into reading more. I got into the self leadership, the self development, those kinds of books and things like that. But so, anyways, wasn't really a big reader. I've always taken notes. I've always put pen to paper is my big thing. Always, always, always put pen to paper. And I'm a fairly big, either you could call it a journaler or just someone who likes to write down their gratitudes. There's a lot of science behind writing this stuff down. We won't go down that path, but you'll see a theme in my books.
Okay.
Anyways, the thought of sitting down and writing a book really wasn't sparking my creativity, even though I love to write. Right. And so someone suggested, well, you like to speak. Maybe you could speak your book. And I thought, well, wait a minute. I was, in my humble opinion, ahead of the curve of all this short video that is so popular right now. You can go back into my history and on my Facebook page, and I was committed to doing a 1-minute motivational video every single week. I don't know if I did it on Mondays or maybe just when I was feeling it. And then I had the thought, what if we transcribe those videos? And what if then we add a quote to go along with it, maybe a little teaching with it? And then what if there's a spot where the reader could then read that and then have their own thoughts about the book. So Blaze already knows this about me. I love acronyms. So I created an acronym that went along with the book. And next thing you know, I'm a self-published author.
Hey, look at that. Sounds easy. Sounds easy enough.
So we say, I love to say I give simple solutions. I'm not saying it's always easy,
Right.
but really this process, it's a great process and I recommend it to anyone. And I was on the low budget. I chose to be on the low budget. And so I had my daughter help me transcribe the videos. I did have a friend go ahead and edit it, take a look at it. I basically gave it to a couple of like my trusted authority. I'm sure you all have those people to take a look at it. Then they became my testimonials for the back of the book. And decorated the cover myself. I definitely went low budget. But then the really cool part, and again, I was doing it as my big business card, but my sister thought we should take it to the next level. So she went ahead and found one of her good friends, and I even had a book signing, and I
Hey.
went and did a little talk, and we had a little party, and a bunch of people came so that I could sign their books. Like, this was not the plan. So yes, there is a system that you can do. I'm not the person to figure out that system to become an Amazon bestseller. I know if my next book, I want to go down that route, there are ways to do that. But this was really, again, it was just like, I love being in the not knowing, but the knowing, and just going with what felt good. And when people actually, picked up the book and have looked at it and then start sharing it with others, this was back in 2015. It's like, wow, this little thing is making a difference in somebody's life. And that's the goal I was going after.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how life opens up, right? How God has such great plans for us, and we have no clue. And we start things, and it starts with a little bit of a spark or an idea, or maybe I just want to help people. Maybe I went through this and it was a dark place in my life, or maybe people create all these complex uh, ideas and ways to do things, and I just want to simplify it, and I just want to share that. And he's like, all right, you think that's all it's going to be? And what? And he's not done, because I know, you have more. I know there's more coming. I know there's more. So we are patiently waiting for more.
Well, be patient. Although it is coming. And so that was it. Really, I'm being as transparent as I can be. It was like, okay, did it. It's there, and I shared it when I would go out networking, and, it's on Amazon and all those kinds of things until, like you said, opening yourself up. Is there more, right? And so again, not the girl that's like, and then I'm ready for my next book. That really was never the plan until 2016, when I went to an event. And there's a parallel. If you recall, just a few minutes ago, I was talking about when I went to the scrapbooking event all those years ago, and I couldn't sleep, and I kept looking at my scrapbook page. Well, this event, when I was done with it, basically we had a blueprint for the next right steps. Currently in our life, we had done really some deep work to figure out who God created and designed you to be. And then what vision's coming out of that, and what's your next right step. And it was on a chart. And again, I could not sleep that night. I wanted to keep going back and looking at my chart. And that was October of 2016. And when I got home, I then took a concept that I was using with my clients. They had been asking me for this anyways. And I was like, wait a minute, I could put this together and now I could share it with the world, which was a system that was working with myself and with my clients. And how about we also put it in a book format, give some context to it, and then give people the opportunity to use the system for 90 days. And like that, The second book was self-published, My Daily Clarity.
Mm. See, clarity. That word right there. That was a word for me. And anyone who uses that word, I feel we're in a world right now that we're easily distracted. There's so much going on, and so many people want an escape. And that escape sometimes is working more, staying up late, not having two jobs, but having four jobs, or in my case, six jobs, right? It's not because I'm distracted, though, but in any case, right? Or we use an escape, whether it be drugs or alcohol, right? Or we get into relationships that have so many red flags, but it's going to keep us occupied, right? So we go through all these things to escape instead of seeking clarity.
Mm. Yep. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, we can decide what road we want to go down right now, because really it's on my heart, and I believe actually less is more.
Hmm.
Less is more. And you're right, when you can get that clarity. And with clarity, though, um, you've got to take action on it, right? We can't just keep sitting around getting more clear, getting more clear. I think we're both on the same page with that. And that we're willing to take the steps and kind of take the steps and shift. Um, but I think when you really get clear and then you put it hand in hand with some trust and some surrender, then you've got a recipe
Mm.
for that. And I agree. I think there's so many distractions when really this is my latest. I believe if people would just slow down for a
Hmm.
moment.
Hmm.
So the hashtag that I love to use is slow down to rev up.
Hmm.
Right? And so the more that I've been doing that, again, when I do sit down to do my work, it's like that. It's like that. I get it done, right? Because I'm not in the push. I'm allowing. I'm very much connected to God right now, and it is so cool. I spend a lot of hours doing that. But then when I sit down to do my work, yeah, done. Okay, thank you. Like that 4-hour work week. I'm like,
Yes.
oh, I think I understand what that means now. I really
Oof.
do. I thought it was crazy, but not so much.
Isn't crazy brilliant? Right? Aren't people who are bold enough, who are courageous enough to everyone's going right? All right, let's go left. Let's just see. All right, aren't those crazy people you realize they're pretty genius? Right?
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
there's power in standing out, and not just standing out just for the sake of standing out, but having a vision, having a purpose, and having the guts to just go for it. And that leads me to, in this process of these books, right? Since you're a multi, you know, book author here, right? um, was in your first or your second or the third that's on the way, right? Was there any moment where you said, "Yeah, this is not going to happen. This is not it."
Well, I think in a sense, and I just read something about this today, we can hear a statement like, "You're never gonna do it,"
Hmm.
or "This isn't going to work out. You're always gonna need help." Let's just say, I'm just throwing that out there.
Hmm.
Now, if you're listening to, depends on which little voice you're listening to that's sitting on your shoulder, and the good versus evil, right? And you can hear those same words. And if it's someone tempting you to go, yeah, you're not good enough. Why would you do that? No one's going to want to read this, all that kind of stuff. You can't go it alone. You're like, oh my God, you're right, right? Because you're listening to that energy.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to the energy, like we said, that we're open to and that we're trusting, when you hear that you're not going to be able to do it alone, you're like, you're right. So come help me do it. So instead of beating yourself up, so there were those moments, not knowing what I know now, right? Because I'm a different human. We're
Mhm.
talking 7 years, right? The other one 6 years ago, whatever, 5 years ago. Where it's like, wait a minute, if it's been placed on me and if I'm being true to who I am, then it will land on, and if it even just lands on one person,
Mhm.
then again, the ripple effect is so much. And that is what happened actually, well, with both the books, but really with my Daily Clarity, I kind of had kind of a reboot of it during the pandemic,
Mhm.
because the people who knew it, it's a 90-day process. So if you enjoy the process, and yes, there's work to be done in it.
Right.
Of course, there's putting pen to paper. Then in another 90 days, you pick yourself up another book.
Right.
And when people would just randomly go, "You have no idea. I just love this system." Da, da, da. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it still has legs," right? So during the pandemic, when I was doing, and I'm still on Clubhouse, but when I was doing a lot of Clubhouse, it was like, well, what is the message that I feel most needs to get out there? And it was about this system and the clarity and the fact that years later, it still had, it was kind of, what is that word? It could stand the test of time,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's what I'm being called to create. And everybody's different, right? Of the reasons that you might want to publish. And so we keep talking about a third book. And it's interesting because during that
You keep
2 years
talking about a third book. I'm just following.
about the third book, I did a trusted cabinet. I spoke the book out. I had the outline, everything. And there was, I believe, the right voice. I do believe that with all my soul, that it was like, not yet, not yet,
Mhm.
not yet.
Mhm.
And holy cow, thank goodness, right? That I listened, and that, because man, it's something bigger than I had imagined. Scary, uncomfortable, not sure what that means. And I'm just taking it one moment at a time.
Yeah. So I didn't want to do this yet. I didn't want to make this big announcement, but you already forced my hand a little bit. So the secret is out. Nina and I are going to collaborate on a book,
That would
right?
be awesome. I would do that in a heartbeat. That can definitely come before this thing that's coming
I'm
out.
actually working on something in alignment with the podcast. That's eh?
Wow.
I don't want to speak too much on it, but it's something that's going to help to enhance the podcast listening experience than you just having the podcast on your phone and you're just driving in your car and yeah, or you're frying up some food and the podcast is on. Yeah, that's cool. But it's more so like, all right, let's actually,
Oh,
yeah,
my heart is on fire.
yeah. So that's that's going to be the first, if you want to say it, my first foot in the pool. Like, oh, I'm gonna test the waters because somewhere in me there is a book author
Mm,
uh, tag that I'm supposed to do. Someone told me that I am supposed to be a book author, and I
mm.
said I don't even read books. I got through school um, getting the cliff notes and flirting with. Okay, I am going left here, but
We definitely don't want to talk about high school, because then people are going to be like, turn her off.
yeah, let's get back current. But yes, so we have lots of things in in the works. And when it's not time yet, right? When you feel, oh, it's not ready yet, that doesn't mean no. that just means there's a right time, and the time is not right now, right? There's more that you have to go through. It's certain people that you have to meet. It's a whole bunch of experience, right? That's going to help you to pour into that book that's going to impact lives and thus change this world.
Ah, man, let me tell you, I love every minute of it. And it's so oh my gosh, so much I want to talk about. It goes back to making sure you can discern
Yeah.
the voice you're listening to, right? And I can definitely see where I'm human. We're all human, right? We're going to have these fears. We're going to have those doubts. We're going to have those things. And I'm a completely different person,
Mm-hmm.
now, even from 2 years ago. Like I'm constantly going deeper and growing and just the clarity piece, right? The clarity of who I've been this first 55 years. I know. I don't look 55. Come on now.
Ooh.
Hmm, how
Thought you
about that?
were around like the 28,
I know.
you
I mean,
know.
let's not exaggerate. I mean, but but when you really get some closure and some clarity and really forgiveness, right?
Mm, mm. That's the second time I've heard that word today,
Mm,
forgiveness.
yeah, it's big.
Yeesh.
It's big, and it's not a word to just throw around. And I know what it is now. I'm telling you, it's been an experience these past few weeks. And so then, right? Then that clean energy comes out. And I think, yeah, I'm very proud that I followed through with what I said I was going to do, that it came like that, which means it was the timing was right and had fun with it, which is what I am.
Yeah.
And I'm also glad that I didn't push just because I told people, yeah, in 2020 and in 2021, because that's not the book. That
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
And I'm patient and I trust that when it is, it will come. But right now I have to do this work for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They say the best healers are those who can first heal themselves. Right? So sometimes because we both have that heart, right, to serve others, and sometimes we get so caught up with, but I want to help, I want to change the world, I want to serve, and we forget that we're on one leg, or right, we have all this other stuff, we're injured, right, and yet you want to serve all these people, and it's like let's finish up with this right here.
Absolutely.
First.
Absolutely. It's so yeah. Yeah. I mean, I believe the goal is that to be the best version of yourself, right? That's what Matthew Kelly says. I'm sure other people have said it. I say it's from Matthew Kelly. So if you're not being the best version of yourself, you can't serve. So those of us with a servant heart, it's so important. And yeah, like you said, and I can honestly say, I don't think I've ever felt truly this way. And that really means that I think I've cracked the nut. I've
Mhm,
cracked the nut. So watch out.
mhm, mhm. You know that saying, this might be out of context. Most things I say is out of context, and I just put my name on it. But in any case, um, when they say, when you have a leak in your house, or they give these stories, right? This guy had a leak, or uh, the captain of a cruise ship, there was some issue or whatever, and they called in a guy to fix it, and the guy came in and did one little turn, or he flicked one little switch and it was fixed, and the guy still charged him a arm and a leg, and the captain's like, but the labor took you 2 minutes, and they say, you're not paying for the 2 minutes, you're paying for the 20 years of experience for me to know which switch to actually, right?
Exactly.
So I want to know, and I'm sure people want to know, what is it that you've gone through that guided you and brought you to realizing that less is more, that the key is simplifying it more than overcrowding and stacking.
Gosh, I don't even know when that journey really started. I think, we all know the comment of, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a jack of all trades. So I'm not dissing on anybody,
Mhm.
right? But what worked for me was being present, let's just say, in in all my aspects. And so what I was finding, right, I don't want to put this on anyone else, but like easily, right? So easily we can be distracted and there's a shiny object over there and over here and over there. Then I think it goes back to that whole best version of myself. And if I'm only giving pieces and parts, and then it's like the juggle, right? And even, gosh, years and years ago. So I don't know how far back I want to go, but it was like almost like this is Nina when she's doing this. And then this is Nina when she's over here. And then when she's on the PTA. And then when she's working. No, this is Nina, you
Mhm.
know? And it was becoming like, oh, corporate Nina. Oh, and then it's mommy Nina. And then it's wife Nina. And then it's like, oh my gosh, you can't even keep up with it. You feel like you're a multi-personality disorder or whatever. So by me really simplifying and getting again the clarity and this is what I do, then I was able to be present as a mom, as a wife, as an entrepreneur, as a volunteer,
Yeah.
and be myself in all of those and knowing that I'm not for everyone, but this is who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah. 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 I struggle with that. For people who know, I have all these different hats. I put my hair up and I'm this, and then I put my hair down and then I'm that, and then I put on a dress shirt and I'm going to a Toastmasters meeting. Right? And then I grab the microphone and I'm on stage doing all this other stuff. So I totally get it, and I admire your discernment. I I admire that you're able to simplify, because yes, you could be a jack of all trades and be pretty good at five different things. But what if, just what if, you could be phenomenal at that one thing? That's what's always in my head. Like, yes, I'm pretty good, and I'm good on I'm good to create things just like that. But what if I was just to give all my energy to just one of these five things? How would that feel? How different would that be?
Well, and I think, and again, there's no good, bad, right, or wrong.
Right.
There's more than one way to cook an egg.
Yeah.
That's the one I love to say. And what if, right? My hashtag, and what if it's better? And so I found that. It's like, this is what I do. This is how I do it. This is,
Mhm.
and I have to bring her up, Dana Wild,
Mhm.
my brain training mentor. That's one of her things. It's like, find the thing in marketing, let's just say. Okay.
Mhm.
And, oh, you love to write? Well, then you should probably be doing email marketing. Oh, you love to write? You should probably do blog posts. Oh, you love to speak? You should probably do podcast or whatever. But
Yeah.
not trying to be all of those. Her thing is, yes, you can market different ways, but how about we pick one and we get really, really good at it? till it becomes like second nature. And then it's like, okay, now let's add another one. And she's not the only one who talks about that. There's a book I'm sure you've heard of, The One Thing, which is about that single focus. So again, anyways, I'm not dissing. People can be successful all different ways. You know why? You know what makes people successful? Let's just get cut to the chase. It's because they expect that they're going to be successful. It's a mind thing. Because really, if you say the hardest workers are the most successful, why aren't, garbage men making as much as another? Because they work really, really hard. Or, so if it's hard work that makes you the most successful or the most money, that's really not true. If it's XYZ, that's really not true. It's probably, if you line them up all together, it's that they expected to be successful. So that's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
So let me just cut to the chase.
Yeah. Yeah. Whew. I love it. I love it. Share with us just a little bit for I'm in Toastmasters, so I was able to see it, but many of our audience isn't. You gave a speech about this that I thought was so cool too, about your move, right? About your journey and the issues with the house closing and finding the right this and driving to the different state and just all the factors and now is the time. No, it's not all these things. And I don't want to say too much, but I just really, really love that story because it was so real, right? Like so relatable, and you were able to at least to us, you were able to remain poised. You were able to remain calm, right? In the midst of all the chaos, um, you were able to really be present as a true author.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, and this is the work, right? This is the work that maybe that's the message you're hearing tonight, right? Like you said, what work can you do to be healed, to be present, to, all of those things. And it was definitely I'm not going to lie, it was a wild ride. And I'm sure many of you have experienced something wild in your lifetime, but maybe probably most presently in the past 2 years. And so now looking back, it's like we didn't know what we didn't know, right? We just went for it, and we happened to decide to move before there even was a thing called a shutdown, right? It was the weekend before the shutdown is when we put our house on the market and we went to South Carolina, and we happened to find a piece of property all by God's divine intervention, because we had been looking in South Carolina for a long time and there was never anything. So I think those kinds of things, and you can notice those kinds of things when you're being present, right? I think you notice the signs and the messages when you're really in it, right? And I think sometimes we like get so out of it and get so caught up. Now, I did have a meltdown, I'm not going to lie, as we're going through the process.
No,
I know. It's
I don't believe it.
I have to tell the truth. That night, when our realtor had to tell us 5 days before our closing for our house in Florida that the deal fell through, it was not pretty. It was not pretty because I was not necessarily even on board for moving, because I had to leave my Toastmaster family. I had to leave this incredible, my real family. I had to leave a network of people that I had built up for 20 something years. And so then the deal falling through, which little person am I listening to? And is it immediately like, well, then we're not supposed to move, put everything back, Meanwhile, my husband's out the door, basically. So it's in those moments. My mom always told me you get 24 hours on the piss pot, she used to call it. And so that was on the back of my mind. And, I think I definitely reacted in that moment and wanted to more respond. There's a difference. And so I think from there on, I reminded myself of that let's take a breath. Let's wait on it. Let's pause on how we're going to respond instead of having a knee jerk reaction. And so then I think that's how I started getting through all the fun stuff, right? Because back then we were talking about driving from Florida to South Carolina, and I was thinking, well, where am I going to the bathroom? Right? Because this was in the height of we didn't know what this was about. So it's like, am I
Yeah.
peeing on the side of the road or am I going, into the actual bathroom? What do I wash my hands with? Like, I mean, just all this crazy
Mm,
stuff.
yeah.
But anyways, we got through it. We got through it. And I think, like you said, I can really look back and go, wow, that could have easily thrown me off,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it didn't.
But
So
it's in it.
so I yeah, that could probably be a story. There's a lot to it. Could be a book. I don't know. And I
Mm.
say that because if you're listening to this and you're like, I think I have a book in me too, but
Hmm.
you've been kind of squirrely about it, get calm. Get calm. Get the thoughts out of your head. Just get out a piece of paper. I have to throw that in there because both my books have a writing component to it. And just so you know, you've got 60 to 90,000 thoughts a day going through your head. And usually you have the same thoughts you had the day before. And so there's actually proof in science that when you take those thoughts out of your head and you put them on paper, you now have left space in your brain
Space.
so that you can now maybe solve whatever problem you're looking
Ooh.
at. You can have more space for it because you've taken the stuff out and given it somewhere to live.
I like that. I like that. As an artist myself, I like that. I am stealing that, and I'm gonna mess it up and then put my name on it. But I like it.
Anybody wants to know about just the science behind or the reasoning or why, you can always hear me talk about put pen to paper. It's a game changer. It really is a game changer.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Speaking of game changers, Nina, do you know what time it is?
What time is it? I think it's game time. No?
The awkward silence. Nina, you don't know what time it is?
I don't know what time it is. Tell me. I forgot. I got so excited. Rapid fire.
Color time.
Oh,
Color time. Color time.
that's right.
Hey, hey. Yes, it is color time. The portion of the episode where I, the host, will say random colors. And you, the featured guest, will say whatever comes to mind.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Yes. So again, there is no right or wrong answer. It can be religious, it can be spiritual, it can be logical, it can be philosophical, it can be funny, it can be terrible.
Oh,
What
I hope it's not. All
it
right. I'm a little pressured. I'm a
can be
little stressed.
smelly. Whatever you want. I love it. I love it.
Let me take a deep breath.
Oh
This
my
is like the
goodness.
scariest part. Color time, Melinda. Here we go.
Here we go. All right. Color number one. Gold.
Gold. Oh my gosh. When I think of gold, I think of my favorite pair of shoes that I don't even wear anymore because the heel is like, they're like chunky shoes and they're a little, I'm short and they make me really tall, but now I'm feeling like a little off balance because I wear sneakers every day. But when I think of gold, I think of those shoes.
Hmm. Maybe that's confirmation that you need to bring them out.
Who maybe?
Hmm. Maybe there's an event coming or something.
There might be.
Color number 2.
I wore those gold shoes actually to my book signing.
Ah, ooh, see?
What, Blaze? Okay.
See? All right. Color number 2. Let's go with silver.
Silver. Silver makes me think of my other love necklace, which is in silver, which I typically wear almost every single day. But
Hmm.
today I wore gold. So, yes, silver for sure. I think of jewelry.
You wore gold because you're on the Blaze Alarm podcast with Blaze Goldsmith,
I mean,
right?
come on.
I mean,
And I
yeah,
wore red because of the
yeah,
lion, and
yeah,
the
yeah,
yeah, I mean, come on.
yeah.
I'm all about you.
Part of the team, yeah.
Totally. Totally a team player.
Color number 3. What's that color again? Aqua green.
Aqua green. Oh, you know what? I just looked down. My Daily Clarity has aqua green in it. When I picked the book cover, it's interesting. I was all about blues. I think, always been about blue
Mm-hmm.
because of the sky and the water and heaven and all that kind of stuff. So aqua green, that actually is in my book cover. So
All
that's what I
right,
think of.
there we go. You are acing this, by the way. Not that there's any right or wrong answer, but you're. I don't see any worry at all. You got this. You got this. Color number 4. Let's go with a. What is that color? Let's go with a dull yellow.
A dull yellow. My gosh. So I am looking straight ahead to a dull yellow, and it's actually a print in my office that is Galatians 5:22-23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control.
Hmm.
Dull yellow right in front of my face.
I love all of those except self control.
Uh huh. Mm hmm. We need to talk.
That's right. That's right. All right. Final color.
Oh boy.
Hmm. Let's go with. Hmm. Let's go with. Hmm. All right. Let's go with boxing glove red.
Boxing glove red. So when I think of boxing glove red, that's so funny. I had a power red suit when I worked at the Hyatt Hotel,
Mm.
and I was all in. And this was pretty much before kids. And man, that was a red power suit, and I felt it when I was in it. So I don't know where that suit is now because I tend to keep a few things. But I guess since now I'm a t-shirt girl, people would be like, "What happened to her?" Um, so boxing red, power red suit back in the corporate days.
Your husband's going to say, "Hey, so can you go back on the Blazer Line podcast? Now you're wearing this power red suit and these gold heels."
Is that what's going wrong? I'm too casual. I dress too casual now. Wait a minute.
You did good. Let's give her a hand. Now, sometimes life happens, right? And sometimes you think you have it all figured out, and then all of a sudden there's a wrench that gets thrown into the mix. So, guess what? We have another game.
I
Ooh.
love games. I
Ooh.
think.
Good. This game is a game that I don't do with a lot of guests. I haven't done it in several months, actually. I did this with Cece when she was
Oh.
on the podcast back in 2020. Yeah, it's been a long
Oh.
time. So I need you all in the chat, right, to do me a favor. Let's keep this interesting. I need you to type random words in the chat. Just go. Just go. Random words. They don't have to make sense. Don't make it long and drawn out. Just random words. It could be anything. Just type random words in the chat. Hmm. While we're waiting. So, how's your day so far?
Today has been an amazing day, and I was actually so looking forward to this. And in divine intervention, you're right. We've been talking about it for a while. And so I'm so glad that it came at the exact right time because, as you can see, my energy, I'm usually asleep by now, y'all. Let's just be honest. But my energy is spot on because, again, I'm coming out of something exciting. So I'm really, really happy to be here. I
Good, good,
think, except for what are these random words?
good. All right. So, for this next game, since you're I have a mosquito in here. Since you're a experienced, distinguished Toastmaster, right? Let's bring a little bit of Toastmasters to the forefront. In this game, you're going to basically, it's kind of like a table topic, right? So, what's going to happen is I'm going to give you the beginning part of a story, right? And then you're going to complete the story using some of these random words in the chat.
Isn't it my bedtime? What's going on? All right, I'm ready for it.
All right. So, here's the story. In a field, lots of flowers all around, grain and harvest all around. You hear theme music out of nowhere. Hmm? And it kind of reminds you of a certain movie from your childhood. Like, why is that theme music playing? Feel free to finish the rest of the story using the words in the chat. 2 minutes on the clock.
Follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road. I am not a singer, follow the yellow brick road. And oh my gosh, the genius around this field. But yet the flying monkeys are coming after me. And I so hope that I see the mayor of Munchkin Town come over in a balloon. But then I realize, ah, even though I want this place to be real, even though I want to enjoy the flowers of the field, in this late December morning, I realize I'm actually just cuddled up on my pillow, sleeping, and it's all just a dream. Oh, but in that dream, all of a sudden I turn around and there's a haunted house. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. And there's mirrors and there's monkeys and there's balloons and oh, I just want to soak into my pillow. Oh, please tell me that this is a dream. And I do. I wake up in such a sweat that I have to get up and towel myself off. I have to pick up my towel and dry myself off. And once I'm like dried off from all the sweat from this crazy dream, because I thought I was in the the Wizard of Oz, and then I was actually in a haunted house, but honestly, it was really just a dream. I sat down with a bowl of ice cream and I opened up the Bible and I felt such peace. I felt such peace, except for the fact that I haven't had ice cream and I can't remember when. And I'm like many people, I can't have the cow's milk. I can't have the goat's milk. I can't have any type of milk. So then I have to run into the bathroom to puke. And I don't know why, but for some reason the puke gets all over me, and so I need to shower, which means, I need to undress and, take a quick shower, and once I take my quick shower, I come out, I towel myself off one more time, and let's really, really get back to what's important. And so I go back to my Bible, and all is well. And I don't believe in any of those dreams. And I'm even grateful that I had to have the ice cream. And even though I got sick, life is good.
3 minutes. Hey.
See, I would have been cut off. 1 to
Hey.
2 minutes means I only get 2.5. So this
I
is
mean,
how
you were on
Blue
a roll.
probably beat me in the table topics. He was more succinct than I. What kind of words is that, people? What are y'all, crazy? I love it. I sounded crazy.
So for those listening to the audio version of this episode 67 will be available tomorrow on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and so on. For those who are listening, the words in the chat were monkey, genius, balloons, pillow, that mosquito visits every Hold on, what? December, happy, haunted house, towel, ice cream, Bible, puke, plums, and naked.
I would have rather talked about the plums than being naked. That's for sure.
That was good. You did well. You did well.
Y'all need to come to Toastmasters. I don't usually talk that crazy because you're not throwing so many words, but thank you for indulging me.
That was great. That was highly entertaining, and I love how it had a moral to it. You see, as a true experienced Toastmaster, right? Like you wrapped it all up. Ooh, I like that. Here's a good question. Can we get a favorite excerpt from one of your books?
Wow. I probably should have just done what I normally do, like open it up. All right. I would say one of my favorite excerpts, because we're talking about clarity. So this is the My Daily Clarity, which is the system, the 90-day system, is you want some clarity? Start with water. How many of you heard that you should drink at least half your weight in water every single day? I had heard it too, and I always felt like I was drinking enough water until one day I was really challenged to do it. I started doing it, filling my bottle up, drinking it, filling it up again. I started having water with me everywhere and really tracking how much water I was drinking. I started tracking it and I started to notice a shift. There was a shift in my clarity, my creativity, and in general, I felt better. I suffered for a very long time with headaches, and I believed those headaches stem from lots of thoughts going through my mind. Do you ever spend too much time overthinking? I'm much more in my heart now, but I really felt like I was causing the headaches from overthinking and working my brain. When I started to track my water, the fog started to clear. So I started doing research on water. And here are 3 things I want to highlight about water and what it can do for you. Guess you're going to have to get the book to get the 3 things.
Hey. As she's reading that, I'm like, where's my water? Yeah. Uh-huh. I like that. I like that. There's a call to action.
Yes, yes. My daily clarity, it's my daily clarity 90 days to connect, create, communicate, and celebrate. And it's basically a system within a system within a
Mhm.
system. It's really got like 3 layers to it. And so the writing part gives you a little bit of history of the system and a little bit of history of, how it came to be. And then you get to work. You get to work and it's 90 days and there's a reason it's 90 days and that's kind of explained in the beginning of the book. So thank you for asking.
I can dig it. I like those. I used to always, and I say used to, I used to always struggle with being consistent. It was the hardest thing. I would start things, I'd be so energetic. I got this. I'm going to start this new program or start this new diet or this fast. And I would have an awesome time starting something or starting a new relationship, whatever it was. Right? Start something. Yes, excited. And then I would get kind of bored. And then after a week or two, it's like, all right, I kind of want to start something else. I don't wanna... So just briefly speak of the importance of daily, right? Of daily structure or daily task or doing a challenge or doing a program. Like why is it important for people to do things daily?
So it's interesting that you bring that up because what I'm noticing the deeper the work that I'm doing, and I certainly do believe in routines, structure, bedtimes, you know, you know, going to bed at a certain time, waking
I
up
feel
at a certain
attacked.
and what it really comes down to is what are your values? What are your priorities? So yes, a daily regimen is hard. I hear you. I totally hear you. So, what's the clarity that I've gotten is again priorities we'll call them, values we'll call them, or yeah, what matters most to you. So there's a handful of things that matter, right? And it's going to be different for everybody. And I have realized that it matters to me that I sit with the Bible every day.
Hmm.
I'm listening to the Bible in a Year podcast. I'm going on my 2nd year listening to it faithfully. And yet, it's not a box I check off.
Hmm.
So there's a difference, right? And yes, the old Nina is like, you wake up and you must, because I do have structure. I can tell you tons of stories of how I've been able to create that for myself. This is not what we're talking about because I'm shifting it and I'm learning more. I'm learning more about myself and you know more about yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
so I guess I'm asking you to know thyself, get clearer on know thyself. And so it's important to me. So maybe I won't be able to do it in the morning, but then maybe I do it at lunchtime. Maybe I won't be able to do it at lunchtime. Maybe it's in the middle of the afternoon. But I know that my day is not complete until I listen to that Bible in a Year podcast. And if I miss a day, guess what? I don't beat myself up for it. I don't blame, I don't shame, I don't all of those things. But the more I know it's a priority because it adds to me being the best version of myself. And if that's my personal ultimate goal on a daily basis, then there are certain things that are part of my day that I want to happen. And that's where the commitment comes. So if I know that I know that I know water is my friend and helps me be at this energy level, then I make sure I drink the water.
Yeah.
If I know that I know, getting my thoughts out of my head and putting them down on paper, it sometimes in a structured way, sometimes not in a structured way, sometimes just on a napkin, just to get it out and put it down. I know that's going to happen pretty much every day. And when I don't, when I try to keep it all in my head, I'm off. So it's again learning the things, and start with one thing, by the way, because I'm giving you a lot of things to start with. Start with one thing and gain the momentum and pat yourself on the back. And then you'll start to see the things that your day really doesn't feel complete unless these things are part of it.
Huh. Hmm. I used to do that. I used to beat myself up because I would, when I felt really inspired, I would write my plan out for the next day. And I would have about 10 to 12 things that I needed to accomplish for the next day. And what would end up happening is that I would only complete maybe five of those or six of those. And even though I completed six things today, because it was 6 out of 12, I didn't feel fulfilled. I felt like, I was somewhat productive, but I could have done better. I could have.
Mm-hmm.
So through life coaching, which I didn't really dive into until the pandemic came and forced us to find other things to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
In life coaching, they teach you to take everything that you feel that you have to do and put it in a box, put it in a category, right? Because it really can't be 12 things that you really need to do, right? So you group it. What things are super important where there's no way I can put it off for another day? I have to get this done today. You put those in. And then in another box, you put in what things are important, but as long as I complete them in the next week or so, I'm still cool, right? You do create another box. What things are important that I could delegate,
Yeah.
that I can have someone else do it? Hey, as a business owner, right?
Yep.
We want to do everything. And it's like, okay, eh, right? And then the fourth box was, you know what? These here, they're not that important. I would like to do them, but they're not as important as I really thought they were. So you have these four boxes. So you realize out of these 12 things for tomorrow, you really only need to get done maybe four or six of those things. Right? And that, so when you go into that, like, well, for this box, I completed everything. Right? You know what I mean? So it kind of helps to make things more simple than you feeling like, oh, I didn't get to every single point. So, so it wasn't a good day.
It's always something to be grateful for. There's
Yeah.
always something going right. And I feel like we don't celebrate enough. And so for everything we accomplish, and that's why I say, like, pick one thing, pat yourself on the back, make a big deal about it. And typically when I talk with people, it you think I'm crazy, but it is the water thing. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, just focus on that and just focus on it, and drink it and cheer yourself on and all that kind of stuff. And then you'll start to feel this momentum and you're like, well, I can take on another thing that's
Yeah.
important. So
Yeah.
it's my favorite is a Tanzanian proverb is little by little, a little becomes a lot.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That just made me hungry. I'm thinking about some lasagna. Mm.
And I'm dreaming of sleeping.
Yes. Yes. Listen, guys, I had to bribe Nina to get on this podcast because, truth be told, she told me no. She said it was too damn late. She got things to do in the morning. She's not staying up to all hours for a podcast. But see, when you walk with God, right?
Mm.
When God is on your side, right? Listen what he'll do. He'll go on your behalf. Ooh.
Yep.
He will touch who needs to be touched. He will mush. He will do what he needs to do to carry out his will. And it was in his will for the amazing author working on her third book and her fourth collaborative book with yours truly
Sounds good.
to be here tonight. Truly, I truly I love your humility. I love your, I feel you're the epitome of just peace.
Mm.
And it's not that everything around you is peaceful. That's not peace. Right? Peace is in the midst of the storm that you choose to be happy. You choose to be grateful. So I've always admired that about you, because I know life is, and as Toastmasters, sometimes we have the ability to speak and to get our point across, and we can easily tell people about themselves in a nice way, right? Because we have that gift, or rather, that Toastmasters education. If you're looking for a Toastmasters club, okay,
We know a good one.
in case. So, yes, Nina, I want to thank you so much. Before I give you all the praises, I want to thank our sponsor, Star Child Social. If you're looking for marketing, you're looking for branding, for a logo, for website design, just for overall face of your company, you have a business, it's doing well, it's beginning to catch some steam, but you need some direction, right? You need quality. Right? Go to starchildsocial.com and tell them that the one and only Blaze sent you. They will give you something. I'm not sure what that is, but they will give you something indeed. This right here was episode 67 of the Blaze the Lion podcast. Again, all month we are highlighting book authors. So next week we have an amazing book author as well, and it's going to be an amazing month. So I'd like to thank Nina for kicking off the month with just amazing energy. One more time, remind the audience your book titles and where they can get your book.
Awesome. Thank you again, Blaze. It's just really been an honor. And I'm so glad that we had this opportunity. And you're right, it was definitely divinely guided. So, both books are on Amazon. My first book is called Listen, Learn, Love, Lead. I love alliteration. 40 Simple Messages for an Inspired Life. And then the next book is My Daily Clarity 90 Days to Connect, Create, Communicate, and Celebrate. And definitely stay tuned. There could be a third, but I really like maybe the third is the collaborative and then the fourth.
Yes, I'm speaking it. I'm speaking it. I'm gonna drink some water, and I'm speaking it out. I think there's. It's not by coincidence that I have these books in me, and I have a whole month dedicated to book authors. So,
I love it.
mhm.
Keep us
And
posted.
before I forget, there are bonus episodes. I've never done this before. All right, so we have bonus episodes this month from other book authors who didn't make it onto our live show. And those episodes rather, will be available on our YouTube channel, the Blaze the Lion podcast, and also the audio will be available on our streaming platforms. I'll make an announcement on who those book authors are on my social media. So Make sure you follow me below. You see that right there? Yes. At Blaze the Lion. Not the lion or the THE, right? Blaze the Lion. And that information will be present right there. So once again, Miss Nina Obier, thank you so much for your time, for your expertise, for again, just your energy. I feel great. I feel like happy. Not that I wasn't already happy, but I feel happy. Yeah,
Love it. Our work is done here.
yeah, yeah. Indeed, indeed, indeed. This right here was the Blaze the Line podcast, episode 67. As I always say, peace and love.